All right, let's jump right into this explainer on Brian Tracy's Get Smart. You know, if you've ever wondered what truly separates high achievers from everyone else, you're absolutely in the right place. Today, we are going to completely shift how we view intelligence, decision-making, and ultimate success. We're breaking down a book that provides a super practical blueprint for literally upgrading your mental software. Tracy's whole core thesis here is that success, it's not an accident, it's not a stroke of luck, and it's definitely not just a matter of having some sky-high IQ. Rather, it's a direct result of upgrading our thinking habits. Just like you can learn to type or ride a bike, you can actually learn the specific cognitive habits that the highest paid people in every field use to hit their goals. To make this easy to digest, we're going to break this explainer down into 5 distinct shifts: redefining true intelligence, mastering time and decisions, focus, goals, and action, the power of flexibility, and finally, cultivating a rich mindset. Let's get to it.
Section 1. Redefining True Intelligence, a New Paradigm.
So think about it. What really is intelligence, right? Most of us instinctively think, well, it's your IQ score or your academic degrees or whatever grades you got in high school. But Tracy argues something entirely different. And honestly, it's incredibly empowering. Here is the new definition. Intelligence is simply a way of acting. Think about that for a second. If you act in a way that actually gets you closer to your goals, you are acting intelligently, no matter what your test scores say. Conversely, a stupid act is just something that moves you away from what you want. It's so practical. Your intelligence is measured strictly by your results and your actions. Section 2. Time and decisions. Mastering your choices. There is just this massive contrast between folks who chase immediate gratification and those who actually weigh the long-term consequences of their actions. Average thinkers, they react to whatever shiny object is right in front of them, that quick dopamine hit. Successful thinkers, on the other hand, pause. They project forward 3 to 5 years. They really consider the ripple effects of their choices. Tracy leans heavily on this brilliant insight from the Nobel Prize-winning economist Milton Friedman to remind us that consequences are the ultimate judge of our decisions. It literally doesn't matter what your intentions were. The only question that matters at the end of the day is, did your idea work or not? Your ability to accurately foresee those consequences, that is the true measure of your newly redefined intelligence. So the absolutely crucial takeaway here is that we have to actively practice slow thinking in critical areas. Pulling from Daniel Kahneman's famous work, we've got to move away from that fast, knee-jerk reactivity. Because, look, we all naturally suffer from confirmation bias, seeking out information that just proves what we already believe. We have to deliberately slow down, gather more data, and ask, how do we actually know this is true before making major decisions? All right, Section 3, Focus and Goals, Taking Action. 95%. Tracy points out that fully 95% of your success comes down to developing absolute clarity right off the bat about who you are and what you want. Like, if you don't know exactly where you're going, literally any road will take you there. And usually it's a road filled with busy work rather than meaningful results. And to fight off what Tracy perfectly calls the attraction of distraction, the endless pinging of emails and social media, you have to develop what he calls the big 3. First, clarity of your goals. Second, focus on a single problem or objective. And third, concentration, which means pushing aside everything else and working single-mindedly until the task is 100% complete. And get this, the compounding effect of doing this is staggering. Studies show that the top 3% of people with clear, written goals actually earn and acquire 10 times as much as the bottom 97% combined. 10 times. Setting goals basically programs your internal mental GPS, turning you into a guided missile locked right onto your target. To really drive this home, Tracy uses author Jim Collins' famous analogy of the fox and the hedgehog. The world is absolutely packed with clever foxes who are scattered, constantly chasing a million different ideas. But it's the hedgehogs, the people who concentrate 100% of their mental power on solving one big problem or hitting one big goal, who always win out in the end. You want to be a hedgehog. Which brings us to Section 4. The power of flexibility, adapting to change. Listen, the world is changing way too fast to cling to old, rigid methods. Creative thinkers rule the world because they fully embrace CANI. That stands for continuous and never-ending improvement. They are just constantly hunting for faster, better, and easier ways to hit their goals. They know for a fact that whatever worked yesterday might be completely obsolete tomorrow. But to actually practice CANI, you need a powerful mental tool called zero-based thinking. And this takes courage. It means having the guts to strip away past emotional, financial, or time-based sunk costs so you can see reality clearly. People absolutely hate admitting they made a mistake, but holding on to a bad investment or a failed project just because you already put time into it, that is a massive roadblock to success. You can apply this literally today to your own life by using the KWINK analysis. It asks, knowing what I now know, is there anything I'm doing that I wouldn't get into again today if I had to do it over? If the answer is yes, your only next question should be, how do I get out of this and how fast? Finally, Section 5, a rich mindset, internal psychology. Tracy points out a fascinating stat. Fully 80% of self-made millionaires are entrepreneurs. But here's the real secret. Even if you work for a massive company, you still have to think like an entrepreneur. Employee thinking waits around to be told what to do. Entrepreneurial thinking is constantly seeking out ways to add value, defining the perfect customer, and finding newer, faster ways to solve their problems. This whole explainer really ties back to what's known as the law of correspondence. It's an immutable mental law that says you will always behave on the outside in a way that matches your internal beliefs, your self-concept. If you upgrade your self-concept to think richly, positively, and flexibly on the inside, your outside reality, your results, and your success will inevitably follow suit. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Success isn't luck. It's just a matter of probabilities, driven entirely by the quality of your thinking. And since these exact thinking habits can literally be learned by anyone starting right now, what is the one long-term decision you're going to make today to create your ideal future? Take that first step. Thanks for joining me on this explainer and keep upgrading those habits.